The learning objectives of today's lecture will be recapitulation of peritoneum and its layers, sex difference between male and female peritoneum, functions of peritoneum. Then we will discuss various folds of peritoneum, mesentery, mesocolon and ligaments in particular.
So we know that peritoneum is a serous membrane and it can be compared to a balloon which has been invaginated by so many viscera. In this diagram, we can see that how the peritoneum of abdominal cavity is continuous with that of pelvic cavity, which is lying posteriorly and it is tilted at certain angle. When we compare it with that of the abdominal cavity, we can appreciate that how they are in making an angle, the axis of abdominal cavity and pelvic cavity, they are making a certain angle. So this is the continuation of abdominal peritoneum and the pelvic peritoneum. So they are combinedly called as abdominopelvic cavity.
Coming to the sex differences of male and female peritoneum, male peritoneal cavity is a closed serous sac and it is lined by squamous epithelium, whereas in case of female, the peritoneal cavity is an open cavity and it communicates with exterior through the uterine tubes. And histologically, peritoneum over the ovaries is made up of cuboidal epithelium, whereas peritoneum over the fimbria is made of ciliated columnar epithelium. Coming to the functions of peritoneum. First of all, peritoneum, it assists in the movement of viscera. By the virtue of certain folds, it helps in the movement of viscera, and it also provides a slippery surface for the free movement of the viscera. Second function is protection of viscera. It provides a moist surface to prevent friction between the adjacent viscera, and it also guards the viscera against infection by phagocytic cells within its mesothelial lining. Provides a large surface area for absorption of fluids, and therapeutically peritoneal cavity can be used for dialysis. Then it has healing power by virtue of its mesothelial cell, because these mesothelial cells, when required, they can transform into fibroblasts. Lastly, it provides storage of fat in its folds. For example, greater omentum. It stores large amount of fat, especially in case of obese people.
So coming to the folds of peritoneum, we will first of all discuss the fold, the omentum. Now, as we already know, what are peritoneal folds? They are double layered folds of visceral layer of peritoneum, and they have been classified variously. Right? They are into three types basically: omentum, mesentery or mesocolon, and ligaments. First of all, we will just recapitulate omentum, which we have done in our earlier lectures. They are the peritoneal folds which connect stomach with other viscera. Here we can see greater omentum and lesser omentum. Greater omentum, it functions just like a policeman of the abdomen. It is a 4-layered fold of peritoneum which hangs from the greater curvature of stomach. Anterior 2 layers, they start from the greater curvature, then they turn upwards and attach to the pancreas. So these are the omentum. Coming to the folds and fossae of anterior abdominal wall. Now, if we remove all the muscles and extraperitoneal connective tissue, then we come across the peritoneum covering the anterior abdominal wall, and we can see certain elevations and depressions over there. They have been named as folds and fossas. Now there are 5 folds in all. In midline we appreciate median umbilical fold, which you can see it is unpaired because it is in midline, and it contains the remnants of urachus. On either side of median umbilical fold, another set of umbilical fold is present. If we take the horizontal section through the infrapolic compartment of our peritoneum, and this is known as medial umbilical fold. It contains remnants of umbilical arteries. And the lateralmost fold are lateral umbilical folds. They contain inferior epigastric vessels. Now, the difference area in between these folds, in all they are 6 in number, 3 on each side. Fossa, just located lateral to the median umbilical fold, is supravesical fossa. If we go more laterally, then we have medial inguinal fossa, and that is in between the medial and the lateral umbilical fold. We have the median inguinal fossa, and more lateral to it we have lateral inguinal fossa, which is present lateral to the lateral umbilical fold. So these are the folds and fossas of anterior abdominal wall. You have to practice this diagram, which is depicting the horizontal section to the infrapolic compartment of abdomen, showing the various folds and fossa. Here you can visualize median umbilical ligament, raising the median umbilical fold. Lateral to it, on either side of it, we have supravesical fossa, and then we have obliterated umbilical artery, red in color, raising the medial umbilical fold, and then lateral to it we have medial inguinal fossa. More lateral to it we have lateral umbilical fold, which is raised by the inferior epigastric vessel, and lateralmost fossa is the lateral inguinal fossa, which overlies the deep inguinal ring. So please draw this diagram.
So coming to the next fold of peritoneum, that is the mesentery. We should first discuss the development of gut. That entire gut is suspended by mesentery in fetal life. But later on with development, certain parts they are lost. So the certain parts of midgut and hindgut, they are retroperitoneal. They become retroperitoneal. So the left out mesentery or the mesogastrium, they will be forming mesentery proper, transverse mesocolon, sigmoid mesocolon, and mesoappendix.
Coming to the mesentery, we will talk about how the mesentery is attached to the posterior abdominal wall. First of all, this mesentery proper, it suspends the small intestine from the posterior abdominal wall, which includes jejunum and ileal coils. Jejunal and ileal coils. It is broad and fan shaped, and it consists of 2 peritoneal layers. Obviously, that's why it is forming the folds. It has 2 borders. One is attached border, which is 6 inches long, and it is also known as the root of mesentery. This root extends from duodenojejunal flexure to the ileocecal junction, as we can see in the diagram given below. And vertebral level is left side of L2. It extends from left side of the lumbar vertebra 2 to right sacroiliac joint.
and when it is going from lumbar vertebra to the right sacroiliac joint, it crosses certain structures, namely third part of duodenum, we can see in the diagram. Then we have abdominal aorta, which is lying just posterior to the third part of duodenum, and inferior vena cava, right ureter, right psoas major. So in this diagram we can see the root of mesentery, the dotted structure, that how it extends from duodenojejunal flexure to the ileocecal junction. Now what is the free border of mesentery? That is the intestinal border, which is basically very long. It is about 6 meters long, and it is just wrapping the coils of intestine, jejunum and ileum. Now this mesentery, basically it is fat laden, and this variation is there in the deposition of fat in the mesentery. Certain areas they are translucent in the mesentery, and they are known as windows. We can appreciate in this diagram blood vessels which are in the form of loops. They are arterial arcades. The area between them, they are the windows. Now by just identifying the type of windows, the number of windows, that what is the translucency, we can say that this is the mesentery of jejunum and this is the mesentery of ileum. Right. So this is the free border of mesentery. Now what will be the contents of mesentery? It contains the jejunal and the ileal branches of superior mesenteric artery and the superior accompanying veins, then lacteal, lymph nodes, autonomic nerve plexus, fat and connective tissue, and obviously the jejunum and the ileum itself.
So our next fold which we will discuss is the mesoappendix. As the name suggests, it is a triangular mesentery which suspends vermiform appendix from the mesentery, from the posterior surface of mesentery, just close to the ileocecal junction. And what does it contain? It contains the vessel, appendicular artery, nerves, lymphatics, and the lymph nodes. Then we come to the next important fold of peritoneum, that is the transverse mesocolon. Here we can see that transverse mesocolon has been lifted. Just lifting the transverse colon, we can observe a yellow fold of peritoneum, that is the transverse mesocolon. The root of the transverse mesocolon, it is attached to the anterior surface of the head and the anterior border of the body of pancreas. And the line of attachment is horizontal with an upward inclination towards the tail of the pancreas. It contains middle colic vessels, nerves, lymph nodes and lymphatics to transverse colon. Our next fold is sigmoid mesocolon, which is inverted V-shaped, and apex is located in front of left ureter and division of common iliac artery.
So coming to the sigmoid mesocolon, this blue colored structure, inverted V-shaped structure, is the sigmoid mesocolon which suspends sigmoid colon. The apex of this mesocolon, it encloses the recess, intersigmoid recess, and it crosses the left ureter, and it has two limbs, right and left limb. The left limb lies along the left external iliac artery, whereas right limb, it extends till the S3 vertebra, and this contains the sigmoid branches, the sigmoid mesocolon, sigmoid branches of superior rectal vessels. So please practice this diagram for the attachment of the root of transverse mesocolon. Coming to the last type of folds of peritoneum, that attach the lesser mobile solid viscera to the abdominal wall. They are the ligaments. Best example is falciform ligament, which is a sickle-shaped fold of peritoneum attached to the anterior-superior surface of liver. It is depicted in yellow color in this figure. Thank you.